Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Trying to drop you off with another video right here. So first of all, I want to say thank you for the time that you spend watching this video, man, and hearing this, and hopefully it resonates with you. You know what I'm saying? So I dropped a couple of videos, about the birth chart and kind of like decoding that. I'm not an astrologer or anything like that, so not necessarily getting into the true astrology of the birth chart, but kind of decoding it and looking at it as a way that you can use it to kind of exit the matrix, bring balance to yourself, you know what I mean? Fight the darkness within yourself, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? So I dropped a video about the Lilith, and a few people have taken the time to watch that. So I really appreciate that and kind of give their feedback. I appreciate that as well. You know what I mean? When I look at the natal chart, the birth chart, I see it in a few sections. You know what I'm saying? I see it in about 4 sections. And that's just kind of where my awareness is at this moment. It may, go up to 6 sections, 8 sections, who knows? But right now, when I look at it, that's what I see. The truth of the natal chart starts to pop out to me. And like I've said before, you'll probably hear me say a million times, you know what I'm saying? If this is a video game, then the natal chart are your instructions on how to play the video game. You know what I'm saying? And you do have to know what you're looking at in order to kind of pull the instructions out, pull the code out, you know what I'm saying? So you can kind of play this game to the best of your ability in the way that you want to play it, you know what I'm saying? So like I've said, I've looked at the natal charts, my own and others, and really been able to break that down into 4 different parts. The first part we have is just a regular part, your sun sign, your moon sign, all your planets, your houses, I call it like the front side of the natal chart. And I think we've all, we're familiar with that. Some people aren't, you know what I mean? And when they get, they look at their natal chart, then they can kind of really see. They don't really get deep into the other kind of stuff like the Lilith and the North and South Node that I was speaking about on my other videos. But, you kind of get a basic understanding of, who you are, your mission, your instructions on this video game. You know what I mean? I call that the first half or the first part of the, I call that the first part of the natal chart. Sorry, somebody's texting me. But to me, there's 3 other parts. We spoke about one, the Lilith. That's one part. The North and South Node is another part. And the part that I'll be talking about today is the Chiron. That's another part. That's the trigger part. That's the trigger to all the shadows on the birth chart, man. So just a little bit about Chiron. They say it's a comet. But now they're calling it like a little planet or whatever. But it's a small little planet. I got some notes here about it. Let's see. Chiron in mythology, he was a teacher, a philosopher, a helper. He always helped other people. But he was the kind of teacher and helper. When he got wounded, he couldn't help himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's called the wounded healer. So that's kind of how it is in mythology. So like I said, he was a teacher, a helper of the gods, you know what I'm saying, a philosopher. And when he got wounded, he retreated to a cave, and tried to repair his wounds himself, and he couldn't do it, and just kind of realized he needed help to help himself, similar to the help that he was giving other people. You know what I'm saying? So that's the mythology behind it. That's why they call it the wounded healer. And whether you believe in this or not, it's irrelevant. Because this shit, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has a birth chart. Everyone has this Chiron in their birth chart. You know what I'm saying? This streaking comet through their birth chart, or just small planet, however you want to call it. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. The wounded healer can teach you how to turn your pain into wisdom. The wounded healer is your trigger. When you work on it within yourself, you allow others to be seen and to be accepted. These are just some quick notes about it. Let's see. Anything else? So, okay, cool. So when you're born, Chiron is in your chart, and it takes about 49 to 50 years for it to return home. So Chiron takes 49 years to go through all 12 signs, and around 49 to 50, you'll feel it again. It's kind of what they call like the return of Chiron or something like that. But remember, this is a trauma. This is something that happened to you when you were younger, probably in your younger life. You know what I mean? And we all have this. We're all wounded here. You know what I'm saying? And it will fall in different placements, like it could be in Gemini, it could be in Aquarius, and it will fall in different houses as well, which will start to specify how you were wounded. So let me just give you an example. If it's in Gemini, you have a Chiron in Gemini, then you might be wounded in a way of the way that you communicate. You know what I'm saying? Feeling like what you're saying isn't important, feeling like nobody takes you seriously, or just idly chatting when things are quiet between you and somebody else. You the person that got to say, hey, well, da da da. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that would kind of present itself if you were wounded in Gemini, in this Chiron, things like that. You know what I mean? The cool thing about Chiron is as it goes across people's birth charts, it stays in the sign for average about 4 years. So yeah, so I'm just pulling numbers out of the air. So if you were born in 1980 and then from 1984, all those people born within that time frame are going to have the same Chiron. You know, it might be in Pisces, but it's going to be in different houses, obviously, for each individual person. All right. So on average, it stays in a sign for 4 years. OK. It only stays 2 years in Virgo and Libra. OK. And then it stays anywhere from 7 to 9 years in Pisces and Aries. OK. I don't make it up. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So on average, 4 years, Libra and Virgo, it only streaks for 2 years. And then for Pisces and Aries for 9 years. So let me give you an example. If most of our friend groups are around our same age, right? Within a few years, right? So if you and all your friends are born between 1985 and 1989, you guys probably all have the same Chiron. You know what I'm saying? Obviously a different house placement, but you guys all have been wounded in this area of, we'll say Taurus, the area of value. So that could also start to explain why you guys gravitated to one another as well. You know what I'm saying? So this is interesting how Chiron kind of works, and it groups people, these groups of people together sometimes, you know, especially if you have a friend group or whatever. You guys might all be wounded in the same overall sign, but like I said, different houses. You know what I'm saying? So your trigger might be slightly different than your buddy's trigger or your homegirl's trigger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But really with Chiron, this is how you turn your pain into wisdom. And once you start cleaning it up and bringing some light to it within yourself, you're able to accept others, you know, for their bullshit, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? But Chiron is important. It's a trauma. You know what I'm saying? And the way I really think about Chiron, it's a trigger. It always is going to trigger you. Always going to trigger you. The way that you keep from responding to it in a shadow way is just to understand what your Chiron is and understand that it's going to trigger you regardless. But the more you know about yourself, the more aware you can be on how you handle yourself after you've been triggered. You see what I'm saying? I've seen things about people saying, oh, you know, you can heal your Chiron and stuff like that. I don't know. You're the wounded healer. You know what I'm saying? This trigger is supposed to be an active trigger in your life so you can move on and keep moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to accept others for their issues, and also learning how to accept yourself and not just snap off on somebody because, you know, they triggered you. You know what I mean? So the best thing to do is to find out where your Chiron is. This is kind of like step one before you start working your way up to that big boss Lilith. You know what I'm saying? Understand your traumas, understand your triggers. You know what I'm saying? Understand where you were wounded at. And that way, when you start to see it unfold off in your life, you can bring grace to yourself, which in turn will have you bringing grace to other people. You know what I'm saying? And they'll start bringing light to these shadows that you have. You know what I'm saying? So on the chart, Chiron is actually, it's like a circle. And then underneath it is like a little K. You know what I'm saying? It looks like a key. You know what I'm saying? They say this is the key to it. You know what I mean? And when I talked about the front half of the birth chart, I feel like Chiron is the key to go to the back half, to the shadow half. You know what I mean? So it's the entryway to the north and south node and to Lilith, which I think is the part of the birth chart that are operating in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? So look into the Chiron. It is an important gateway to start helping people with your shadow, helping you with your shadow work and helping people understand who they are a little bit better. I won't go into each house and what it's supposed to do and all that stuff. I mean, that's you can do that. You know what I mean? Look at your birth chart and see where your Chiron is. You know what I'm saying? And if it's in X, read about it. You know what I'm saying? And start to try to understand who you are in regards to this Chiron. But like I said, man, just understand everybody has this in their birth chart, and this is the trigger. Typically what happens is once you get triggered in Chiron, the shadow bridge goes straight to your south node, you know, activates your ego, and then you, oh, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? That's typically how it goes. You know what I'm saying? From what I've seen. But once you start understanding your Chiron and understanding this is the wounded healer, this is where you've been wounded, but you can help others as well as helping yourself. I think you'll start to see it. You know, when I really started studying this information and really understanding it for myself, I was like, damn, I see it. And every single time, it doesn't matter how, whatever you think you are, woke, enlightened, whatever word you want to use, this shit don't matter. This shit is going to trigger you. It's just the more that you bring awareness to yourself, you can see the trigger coming. You can make different decisions. You know what I'm saying? When you make different decisions, doesn't mean the trigger is going away. It's that you see it and you're like, hey, I need to do this instead of doing that. You know what I mean? And bring peace to yourself. And like I said, ultimately, we'll bring peace to the people that are around you. But Chiron is really dope. This is kind of the first key to start getting your traumas under control and understanding where they come from. And when you start looking into the Chiron, you'll see it, man. You'll start to see it. It's right there. You're like, fuck, this is what this is. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm not gonna go over each one. You know what I mean? I'm not doing all that. If you care about it, I promise you, look at your birth chart, find the Chiron, or find a birth chart that actually has, you know, the Chiron on it. Look into it. Understand the sign that it's in. Understand the house that it's in. You know what I mean? And understand this is related directly to trauma. And this is your wounded healer, you know? So just a quick little video about Chiron. Yeah. I mean, I think that covers it. You know what I mean? And I'll just reiterate. It's a comet that streaks through. Some people saying it's a planet now, you know, whatever you see. Like I said, it spends 2 years in Virgo and Libra. It spends anywhere from 7 to 9 years in Pisces and Aries, and all the other signs it's about 4 years. So I can even think about my friend group. We're all within 4 years of each other, and I'm like, damn, we all got the same Chiron in different houses, right? We're all triggered in a different type of way, but it's all about the same thing. So hopefully that can bring some clarity to you. I'm gonna drop some more videos, just kind of going through each section of the birth chart as I see it. And hopefully it resonates with you. Hopefully you can gain some clarity and start doing some shadow work, man, so you can stop being a little biatch. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, y'all know what's up, man. Hey, thanks for checking out the vid. I'll talk to you. Peace.